145 sleeves. You're down to the final 25. And before we get off the air today, Judith Salavetz will have a speech. She'll give a
Well,
speech. She's
little, a
got a
little,
teleprompter set. We're going to continue. We'll
a
find
little
something else
mini
to talk
thing, a
about.
mini.
Yeah, many.
All right, let's get to number 76.
Okay, we're on the eighth interview of the 145 series, conceived by my buddy Zach Martin, and now here's number 76. Now, this is the front and a very general back. Group called Red Generation, Coalition Records, and I loved the sleeve artwork. And I thought it draws you right to the sleeve. It's like the scream at Halloween. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's the scream at COVID-19
Yeah,
day.
right. COVID night. Right. Exactly. Very good,
It was
Judith.
almost like soothsaying that this would happen. And if you look at that picture, one can argue that I might have modeled for that. Almost
It
like
does look like you a little
it's
bit,
got my
Zach.
features. Either that or meatloaf.
Oh,
Yeah.
here we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a good one.
Spencer, we love this. There's no type on the front.
We love
Yeah.
this note. You're exactly right, Judith. There's no type on the front. It's artwork. Unfortunately, again, no credit for the illustrator, which here we go again.
Shame.
And what kind of artwork is that? Is it a watercolor? It is a pencil?
Well, that I don't know. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I'm thinking just it could be oil painting. You know, it looks almost Judith. It could be almost like an oil painting too, right?
It's hard to say what the. I mean, I'm not looking. I'm looking at it on the screen, but it's hard to tell what the process is.
Yeah.
Let's look at the typography on the back. And it almost reminds me of something I would see on a Yes album.
Yeah.
Or a Triumph,
Now, that's interesting. It's very close to Roger Dean, who did those logos for A. You're exactly right, Zach. The top one has that reminiscence of the Roger Dean logo, you know.
I love the back. The back cover to me is as good as. I mean, it's not great, but it's very well done. It's sparse, and it's all you need to see is the titles of the songs that are on there, centered. It's really nice. It's nicely done.
Yeah, very technical cover.
Our next 45 should be very colorful. I remember playing this on the air.
Right.
One hit to the body. Now, Patrick and I were talking about the Rolling Stones earlier. And this was the song that led with the conversation about how the sound of the Rolling Stones is maybe 4 or 5 chords all the time, arranged differently. And Patrick would be able to analyze it that. Now, on the back, this is the front cover. So on the back, that little square, that little artwork would be the actual LP artwork.
That's right.
That's what the LP looked like.
Yep.
I remember playing this over and over on a top 40 station on the 45 with the spindle in the middle, also known as the Hookie Dookie. And we would play one hit to the body over and over. It was the coolest song out of all the other top 40 songs that I would play. Around the same time, I was playing Hip Sway and Crowded House, Carly Simon, Paul Simon, because Eddie Simon owned the radio station. So you were going to play all the Paul Simon records and Carly Simon records on HP 107, WWHB in Hampton Bays on 107.1, right? And so we had 4 or 5 stacks of 45s to equal 40 total songs in rotation. And I do remember enjoying that because it was the closest to rock and roll that we'd play. Now, the drawing is very interesting because you have the wolf and I think a cat, I don't know, and a figure that's on all fours because, I wonder who did that artwork. Talk about
the artwork's done by Francisco Clement, a very I believe a French artist who's really cool, and the designed by Janet Pear designed the sleeve from so that's the story on this one.
And that was released in 1986. Now, musically, Patrick, explain what I was trying to get at about the Rolling Stones and their style. They're unmistakable, but I think that they got a formula that always works.
Yeah, I mean, it's this signature groove that's in place too with Charlie Watts and Bill Wyman to start with as the bed, and then you have them, kind of floating over that, but it's all the sort of power A chords, Z chords, or D chords. It's just right in the center lane of blues. So it's definitely an identifiable groove. It's interesting too, in looking at the artwork, it reminds me a little bit. There's echoes of the Warhol Polaroids of the Stones biting each other from the previous cover featured.
That's interesting.
So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're being eaten by wolves and other beings. Spooky. Just in time for Halloween.
I know. You picked the appropriate cover, Spencer.
So this is our next Mark Ryden, very famous
wow,
illustrator. He did a lot of album cover work. Beautiful, beautiful illustrator. He did a lot of work, and the back has a very tasteful back cover. Nice type, very, very clean.
The front cover of that looks like a piece of art that you would see in the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right as you get in Rembrandt's section, right? That
it's very reminiscent of the old masters.
Yes, exactly.
But it's got this pop this pop feeling to it.
Well, it's similar to Masters, but then it takes a dubious and devious turn.
Right.
Slice in the chest and the blood everywhere. She's like in a pool of blood. Yeah.
It's like childhood innocence, but then it's like into the really darkness of your soul.
Right. Annie Leibovitz photograph. Famous Keith Richards on the front.
Now, Before They Make Me Run is from Some Girls. This is a lead vocal by Keith Richards. There was a time where Keith and Mick weren't getting along together very well, and they each tried to do their own solo thing, right? They didn't need the rest of the band. But yeah, it's a nice photograph by Annie Leibovitz. And let's see what the back looks like. Of course, Keith in that photo must have been his 40s, or maybe younger. In 1978, I think, was the release date, right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep,
Yeah.
I think so.
All right. And it's a special edition, not for sale, which, by the way, if you're a collector, those are the ones you want. Those are the ones that would go to radio stations. It would either be for promo only or special edition, not for sale. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you bought it on eBay, I take it?
Yeah, I can't remember. There's so many different outlets I had to buy ones, but I believe eBay was a biggie for me, or Discogs, or
Nice. So now we're going to go to the Good Boys. We saw something from the Bad Boys of
Ta-da!
The Good Boys.
Ta-da! Classic.
Now,
We love this.
This is interesting because there's something that might be a little bit confusing to somebody looking at this. You see the Swan label. Swan or Swan Song is the label of Led Zeppelin on Atlantic Records.
Corner, Spencer, take your fingers away.
What is the difference, if anybody knows, between Swan
the other one
Records for She Loves You on this 45 and Swan Records from Led Zeppelin? Swan Song, I guess it was Led Zeppelin. I guess that's the distinction. Anybody know?
No,
I have no idea.
Yeah, Patrick is just sitting there dumbfounded. He's like,
I'm trying to count the years between that. So Swan Song, I think the
70, 71, I think you get Swan Song.
Right. So that's some years after this, but that was an imprint. I thought Atlantic was their label all along, and the Swan Song was an imprint of the Atlantic label for Zeppelin.
Well, it was, yes, it was. And the only other group that was on Swan Song or Swan was Bad Company. Bad Company.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about this, Zach? It's just they play the single only, not the B-side. Notice that. Just She Loves You only on the cover.
Was it a double A by any chance? Sometimes that was done for whatever reason, where you have She Loves You on A and B. And I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you why that would be.
That's good. Yeah.
Because if you were at a radio station and you kept playing that same 45 over and over, sooner or later you're going to wear out one of the sides. You're going to get Q burn. You're going to get this at the end of the record. That's part of Q burn too. So, hey, put them both on A and B. This way, when one side runs out, all a disc jockey has to do is flip it over. I'm sure that they would put like a little
Oh, that's so.
marking on the
That's
record.
interesting. That is, Zach, that's very interesting.
That's what
Very.
Is there a credit for the photographers?
Of course not, Judith. Of course not. Don't ask
course
questions
not.
like that. Not on this one. I was going to say that. I was curious who did the
But
photography.
it's interesting if you notice. You know how it's Paul McCartney out front. He seems to be like the size. It goes. The sizes of the guys get smaller.
Right.
He's the biggest, right up the forefront, and then.
Yeah, interesting.
And those suits, by the way, I don't know what's going to happen in the post-COVID-19 world, but those very suits were on display at the Hard Rock Cafe, Times Square.
Oh,
as
wow.
you go down the stairs.
I love that look.
It's a great portrait, and you notice Lennon's right next to McCartney, which should be the co-writers. I like the way they positioned each one.
Yeah, and Ringo's in the back.
Exactly.
Yeah, they made him the smallest. And so, I don't know if they were.
Ringo got the most fan mail though at the beginning. Ringo was the most popular Beatle.
Now the next sleeve is a mind blower. Okay, we have
Dovell's.
The Dovell's Bristol Twist and Annie, which was a big hit, and
goodness.
I love the sweaters. It was like little Butchie Shunders and the Elcords, or the teenagers that logo D on the front of their sweater. A classic in the old days.
I like it. It's on Parkway.
Yeah, Parkway, man.
Now I wish we had the history in some of these labels, because Parkway is interesting. Do they mean in relation to New Jersey? Where are the Dovell's from?
I don't know. I always think Long Island, but I'm not sure.
Let's just say, for the sake of the argument, it's got something to do with Palisades Park, and I can't think of anything more Americana than the Parkway, Palisades Park, and Pizza Town on Route 46 after you get done from the park. That's cool.
Next one is interesting. We've shown the Rock Lobster sleeve. This is the alternate sleeve for Rock Lobster that was actually produced. This is a real collectible, I think.
Yeah, I can tell you that I remember playing that 45 on the air as well.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody listening, there was a time when we had 2 turntables and a microphone and reel-to-reel machines, and then after that, we decided that, let's update our equipment. We put in the compact disc players. Oh boy, that was a big deal. All our music is on CD, compact disc. Compact disc is very hard to say over and over, by the way. And sometimes the word disc was nothing close to the word disc. It came out to something else, and the FCC had a problem with that. So there you go. The B-52s.
And the back is a portrait, very simple.
I got to tell you, I'm a big Kate Pearson fan.
Yeah, she's great.
She's terrific. Great voice. I like some of her collaborations, like with REM and a few others.
The next
Shack is one of my favorite.
Oh yeah. The next sleeve is overseas. This was an overseas sleeve for the Rolling Stones. I love this picture. I really love this concept. I mean, I had to buy it just on the concept alone.
That was the Paris sleeve, right?
Okay. I believe.
Yeah. Well, it's got a real Parisian funky type of art.
Pathé, EMI, Zach.
Pathé?
Pathé, EMI.
I don't know why I thought it was from Paris, but,
Well, it's overseas. It could be. Could be, It's overseas. But I love the concept of the cover. I mean, it's really off the wall. You know what I mean? It's like... No, I said I had to buy this just for the cover.
It's like one of those old sci-fi movies that you'd see at the drive-in.
Right?
It never made any sense.
Right.
And the effects are really bad.
One has nothing to do with the image, has nothing to do with the music.
Now, the next 2 sleeves I'm doing on a purpose. U2, I worked on October Baby for Island. These 2 single sleeves, they're pieces of artwork, but I thought they were both extraordinary. And Anton Corbin, the photographer, I'll show you one. Wait a minute. Let me get this together here. That's the first. And then The second.
Is the second one The Fly? I don't remember.
Yeah, you got it, Zach. Right on, man.
Again,
the
you
fly
know,
is the red of the fly.
Yeah.
Now, these two pieces were part of a total art piece on a graffiti on a car. And Anton Corbijn took sections of that art and applied it to these singles. So there's two others involved also. But I wanted to just at least see two of them. And the back is very, you know.
Uh-huh. What was the album? Octoon Baby?
Yeah.
The Fly?
Yeah, Octoon Baby. I worked on this.
I really like that album. I like The Fly and I like Mysterious Ways.
Yeah.
I would come out of that. She moves in mysterious ways, and that's why she's got all those dollar bills.
I don't remember the make and model of the car. I thought it was an East German car, but they during the tour they actually had a few of those for the arena tour and then more for the stadium tour where they painted them graffiti and hung them from the rafters above the stage. And the cars would actually move. The headlights had spotlights.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
yeah.
really cool.
I have a book called U2 and I. It's the photographs of Anton Corbijn of all his U2 projects, and he has the picture of the car in it. Patrick, right. It's a small model, but it's covered completely with graffiti, and nobody knows this unless you're into seeing the show, I guess. But it's very interesting. They took these different pieces and put them together like a puzzle, you know, and these were parts used.
Right.
Next one's a classic, Fat Man, Fats Domino, man.
Fat Man. All right, so let me tell you about this whole expression of fats. Scott Muni would call everybody fats. I was fats. He was fatty. Somebody was the fat man. Hey, fats. A couple times a girl would come over and go, hey there, fats. And they'd get all upset thinking that they had to lose 100 pounds. Fats is really nothing to do with the size of you as being fat. It's like fats as in this guy's where it's at. He's cool. He's fats, man. So although Domino is a chubby guy, Fats Domino, I mean, the label sticks. And we lost Fats Domino most recently. I think he passed away a few years ago. After
I
one
believe
of the
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Here comes Fats. What are the songs that are on it?
I'm glad you asked that. The Rooster song, My Happiness as Time Goes By, and Hey La Boss. Hey La Boss. It's I never heard I tell you the truth, I never heard these songs before. I'm more familiar with the famous ones he did, more famous.
I think the Ain't That a Shame?
Ain't That a Shame of Blue Monday? Blue Monday. Oh, Blue Monday.
I found my thrill
a lot
on
of
Blueberry Hill. Right.
I think the Rooster was covered by the Doors, but we'd have to go to our resident musical expert, Patrick Bamburak, on the spot.
It's called the Rooster's Song. So it's not like Little Red Rooster with the Stones, right? It's called the Rooster's Song.
Yeah. Alice in Chains did Rooster, which has nothing to do with the Rooster song.
No, you're way off. Right. Although I got to tell you, Rooster from Alice in Chains, one of my favorite.
That's a great song.
Songs. And Alice in Chains, one of those groups, by the way, that always had interesting album covers.
Mm-hmm.
One day we'll just have to, maybe one of these days what we can do is go over some of our favorite groups and bring our own album covers to work with us. And
wow.
Everybody check it out, check out my record collection. This is Helmet.
Okay, they're on Amphetamine Reptile Records, Zach.
Right.
Amphetamine Reptile Records, and they're a very wild group. I mean,
they're a heavy rock band, I guess. I
lot of noise.
There was a song that I remember playing out of the box from Helmet. It was called Unsung, I think. They're okay.
Yeah, you got to love the illustration, Zach. The illustration.
Yeah, somebody being injected from they're being injected from the car without.
I know.
I'm bringing up Warhol, right? So, remember there was the Car Crash series of paintings from Andy Warhol, and that was a thing back in the 50s and 60s. A lot of photography documenting car crashes because those were the days before seatbelts. So if you got into a fender bender, you flew out of the car.
So it wasn't like a flying saucer above trying to lift the guy out of the car.
It
looks like it was right. It was the Impact.
Here we go, guys. Melvins. They have some great covers, actually. Melvins. They've done many great covers. This is one of them, one of the early ones. Amphetamine Reptile Records again, guys. They do wild stuff. I love this picture, though. I love the illustration. I really do.
I wonder why they call themselves amphetamine.
Who knows? You know, Judith?
Thought.
Good thought, though. And the next one is our friend Debbie Harry going solo with a single called French Kiss. Remember this, Zach?
Yeah, actually, I do. This is another one that we played over and over again on HB 107. I remember doing the overnights, and at one point I fell asleep on the air, and there was a guy who manned the Shinnecock box, and I finally answered the phone. He goes, "I was wondering how long you were going to be knocked out," and I go, "How long was it?" He goes, "About an hour." So all of the Hamptons heard the needle on the record going. Well, what was great about this for me was playing some of these songs that no other radio stations are playing. And I don't think too many played this particular song from Debbie Harry. By the way, we were just talking about her the other day. Before you had Madonna, before you had Lady Gaga, I think Debbie Harry. Now, you know, she would go between be calling Deborah or Debbie. So I can't, I don't know why I always have problems with that. But Debbie Harry was like the it back in the day. You know,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that she was one of the, how about, can I say coolest chicks? Is that offensive?
Yeah.
I mean, just one of the
You
coolest
could
chicks.
say that.
And she now resides in Middletown, New Jersey.
Hmm.
Yeah, she's cool. I mean, come on.
Beautiful.
You know.
She's
And by the way,
Really,
voice.
by the way, the painting is by Andy Warhol. If anybody asks who.
Well, I
did
don't.
the
I think it was
Yeah.
a photograph, Spencer, that was transformed into. That's what I think. It was some sort of
Well,
photo.
the credit reads here, Judith, says background painting Andy Warhol.
The background, but the photograph of her, the image of her is a photograph that was converted.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because there are a lot of versions of this image on various covers. You know, some of them in color as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how they did. If you notice, you know, Debbie Harry French Kiss, and then you turn it around, and it's like in the mirror. It's like you're looking at it, it's backwards. Turn it around. See the.
It's a flip. It's like a flip cover.
But the copy flips as well.
Yep.
The title and her name.
So the next one, Zach, I did for you since and myself.
This is great.
And who else? This is the Led Zeppelin single in Japan.
Right. Now, this is great because on the A side, you have, and I just took out my Led Zeppelin collection that I have here and saw this on the list. I have the Japanese import. I've had it for years. I got it at Jack's Music Store in Red Bank, New Jersey.
All right.
Now, this is the interesting part about it. On the A side is Immigrant Song. On the B side is Hey, Hey, What Can I Do?
Ooh.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Hey, Hey, What Can I Do was never released on any of their earlier albums.
That's right.
It wasn't until they had the box set that it was put on, you know, as part of the package. And then when they re-released Coda, you get two gems on that album. You get Hey, Hey, What Can I Do? And Traveling Riverside Blues. Traveling Riverside Blues was originally recorded by Robert Johnson, and Led Zeppelin interprets that. So that is, I would say, if you're a Led Zeppelin collector and you have your hands and you have the 45 that goes along with it. Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, every cover I have has the record in it. I just have it on the side with the others.
I would love to see the condition of that record.
It's mint.
I'm going to tell you
mint.
something.
I'm telling you, Zach, mint condition. Mint.
This is the holy grail for Led Zeppelin fans to be able to have the Japanese import 45. And I'm going to pretend like this is one of those History Channel road shows or on PBS. I value this at $500.
Wow.
$700.
Wow.
Ooh.
Could be as high as 700 because it is in pristine condition. You have the vinyl, no scratches on it.
And this is mint condition cover too, Zach. You know, the cover.
I mean, that is an amazing piece of
Wow.
art.
Tell it, Spencer.
I love it.
Yeah.
Zach, you're telling me beautiful words. I love
Man,
it.
that's gold right there. I would find some way. I did this with a show that I did with Yoko Ono for a Beatles special. It was a Beatles Christmas special long ago. Scott Meany was still alive. And Scott and I went up to the Dakotas and we did the interview for it. And we used pieces for the show. And there's a famous photo. Well, famous to me. It's me, Yoko, and Scott. We're at the Dakotas.
Oh,
And so
wow.
I got that photo and I put that on the top of the frame. And then in the middle is the actual CD press of the show.
Mhm.
And then there's a piece of artwork that Yoko gave me. This is when Sophie was just a little baby. She might have been a year old, I think. It might have been 2000, 2001, where Yoko did a little piece of art to welcome Sophie because Sophie was raised with the John Lennon collection for little babies. It
Mhm.
was great. It was in yellow, so
Oh, that's
everything in the
great.
room was all John Lennon stuff. So
Oh my
Right.
I said,
God.
Yoko, we spent a lot of money on the Lennon stuff, and so she picked that out and gave it to us. It's one of my prized collections. So
Oh.
when you have these 45s, you got options. You can keep them on a shelf. You can keep them in your collection. You can play the records. You can make sure that they're untouched. That they maintain their integrity, if you want to call it, their
Yeah.
value.
Yeah.
Or you can make another work of art out of it by matting it and putting it in a nice frame and
Right.
perhaps separating the record from it. And if you have a nice little photo and maybe an autograph, just
Mhm.
make it something nice to enjoy.
That's
and put it
good.
on the
Yeah,
wall.
you're right.
So yeah, that's one of those things that if I had a copy like that, man, I'm telling you, I would make a work of art out of it because that's what
Yep.
that is. Thank you for sharing that.
Classic. I must say classic. So flip the covers over the same, but it's a great photograph. It's a classic song, as we know. This is a historic cover, Zach, right? Patrick, Judith,
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I mean, you know, it's
brings
the
it.
original lineup of the Rolling Stones.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Brian Jones.
It's interesting too, the group shot. It's like you said before, Zach, with the sort of the transition. The Stones were the bad guys and the Beatles were the good guys. And when you see the composition of the group shots, the Beatles are always composed and sort of smiling and happy.
These guys are
And the
serious.
Stones always look like they're ready to throw down. So
right.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well,
There's no credits on here. It's just
yeah.
picture with type, but no credits at all. It's interesting.
Yeah, and who wrote "As Tears Go By"?
I don't know.
Is it have anything to do with Marianne Faithfull by any chance? I don't. I can't remember. It's such a long time ago.
I love that
But
song.
Yeah.
It's yeah, they're tough guys, but they're crying. I mean, think about that. Those tears,
Yeah, right.
tough guys
We
crying.
somebody will Google it.
Now, we have in that lineup Bill Wyman, and he had this great book out around 2002, 2003. And I don't know how much it was. I got it somewhere, but he took all of the paraphernalia from being in the Rolling Stones, put it into a book. It was really marvelously done. And he retired from the Rolling Stones at the time because he was afraid of flying. So I said, well, where do you live? He goes, in England. I go, so you're here now? He goes, yeah. I go, well, if you're afraid of flying, how did you get here? Did you row over? And he got kind of mad. So then I asked him, I go, well, why did you collect all of this stuff? He goes, because when it was the late 50s, early 60s, whatever, he goes, I wanted proof to show my kids that I was actually in a rock band. I didn't know if we were going to make it or not. So he collected all his stuff, put it in a book, and you could probably get it on eBay right now for a good deal. Right?
Yep.
The Avengers?
This is the Avengers. It's in our 545 books. It's a classic cover, Judith. Remember?
Right.
It's got that very raw
series, the British series on television. It's the rock band.
Or the Avengers of Marvel. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I like the drummer's name, Danny Furious. That's the name of the drummer, Danny Furious.
And that was on a Danger House label.
Yeah, Danger House label. It came like this. You had the back, you opened it up, the record was in this little insert.
I vaguely remember, but it was wrapped in the plastic, yeah. And I got it I believe I bought that that 45 at Sam Goody's. My
Oh,
uncle was
really?
the manager at the time in Sam Goody's in Monmouth Mall in
Hmm.
Eatontown, New Jersey. I remember getting it there.
The next one is a very, actually, really great group, Killing Joke. But I love the illustration. That's exactly what I bought it for, just for the illustration.
Yeah, that's a cool one. It's a court jester who's not very happy. Court
Yeah.
jesters are
Yeah,
supposed to be happy, and in the background you have
a
a bunch of
cemetery.
people. So he's finding no joy in the
And,
churches.
the
He's,
church and cemetery.
yeah, he's out there all on his own. He's just a sad man.
The back cover is very bland. It's just type and simple.
And that was on Malicious Damage, right?
Yeah,
Was the label.
malicious damage, right?
EG Records Limited.
The next one of our favorite sleeves, the Talking Heads, and Love Building on Fire, New Feeling.
But there's now the Talking Heads are 3. There's somebody missing in that picture, isn't it?
There is Jerry Harrison.
Yeah.
Harrison.
So
that's why it makes it a great photo. It's kind of like.
Well, was it on purpose that Jerry wasn't in there, or did he split the band? I can't remember.
Well, the back credits read David Byrne, vocals, guitars, bells, Chris Franz, drums, tambourine, Martina Weymouth, bass, and then the producer, Tony Bon Jovi. But you know something? Jerry wasn't in the group then.
Well, all right. Tony Bon Jovi is the uncle of
John.
And so, I don't think John Bon Jovi gets to be Bon Jovi of, that we remember, Slippery When Wet or otherwise, without his Uncle Tony. And they worked at they worked at a power station, right?
Right.
Yep. And Tony knew my work. He showed the Billy Squier cover around the Powerhouse one day. But
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Tony had us also design a Bon Jovi CD overseas in Japan, by the way, which is a very cool CD, very rare, that we did. Bon Jovi in Japan. Now, this sleeve is interesting. It's a Talking Head sleeve. Howard Finster is the artist, famous artist, came from down south, Howard
He's
Finster.
an outsider artist.
Yeah, and Emmett Company designed this sleeve, but I love this sleeve. I really do. The artwork, the heads would always just have great 45 sleeves. This is one. I have a whole series of great art.
You know what that is? That's Rome on fire. Rome is burning.
Okay.
Well, that's what it looks like to me.
And the back.
I have a question for Judith. Why is he an outsider? What makes him an outsider, Judith?
Why is it what?
You said he was an outsider.
Oh, no. There's a form of, it's like you have Impressionism is a form of art. Outsider art, it's referred to, and, there were a lot of artists that were untrained. Most of them lived in the South, and a lot of them were Black artists, and they did these religious, untrained paintings, which if some of these artists, if you can get your hands on now, are worth in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But originally they were, these guys sold them for like $10 here, $50 there. And yeah, so the form of art is called outsider art.
I got you. Well, that's interesting. Learn something new every day. Very cool.
The next sleeve is from Sean Lennon's company, Chamorro Music. I took this because he's had some great artwork on the front of his covers at Chamorro. This is a group that's called Ghost of a Saber-Toothed Tiger. That's the name of the group with, I think Charlotte Mule is on it with him, his girlfriend. But I love the illustration. I really do. I bought this for the illustration.
It looks familiar. I when you're going through the stacks of 45s and you're on the air, you see all kinds of nifty things. Honestly, I really wish I didn't take all of that stuff for granted. However, when I would play the songs, a lot of times because I was so bored in between talking, I would actually look at the sleeves. So thank you, sleeve designers, for keeping late night disc jockeys awake while they're doing their shifts, for the most part, unless I fell asleep. Uh-oh.
This is the Wolverton. Wolverton group called the Wolvertons is a 3D. You get it with 3D glasses.
Right.
And a guy named Wolverton did the artwork, a great illustrator, by the way. Look at his stuff. And this is a fun sleeve. And it comes with glasses, actually, 3D glasses.
That's cool. Yeah, you got to have the 3D glasses. If you're wearing them now, put them on, kids. And there you go. Oh, very scary. Oh, that's that. Yeah.
And here we go. We got 13 floor elevators.
Oh, that's really cool. Wow. Interesting cover. It's like part of the face, the all-knowing eye or the all-seeing eye, and then the pyramid on the back.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So this is really I love this. Judith?
Yeah, no, there were other versions too for this particular cover. Some were, there were these psychedelic designs, but I do like this one. I think the best.
Now, what's interesting, Zach, if you flip this over like this, you can read. You read the type is upside down. So if you flip the cover like that, then the type reads fine on the other side. So maybe they wanted the visual this way, Zach. Judith, Patrick, because if you read it now, you can read the type. But
it's interesting because now everybody's probably gravitating towards the nose. Yeah.
And we're coming near the end here. This is I love this sleep. Pretenders, Talk of the Town.
Oh yeah, it's got that vaudevillian thing kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. And the back with the group and the Pretenders, as usual. But I love the front cover. I love the concept of this. Yeah. It says Talk of the Town. I mean, that's Judith talking about relating to music. The Talk of the Town. Hello, it's like something on a movie theater or something. They use the Talk of the Town. I mean, I don't know. That makes sense to me. What goes with the music.
Yeah, Pretenders are just a cool group.
They are.
I love them a lot. Yeah, they're really good.
And this is with the early band before the two of them committed suicide. This is the early band, the originals, by the way.
Yeah.
And the last one I saved the best to last. This is a super rare sleeve. This is the Ramones Blitzkrieg Bop that I bought for close to $100. It's worth over $500. It was printed by Photogram, overseas only. John Holmstrom is the illustrator. This is a rare one. What
can you say? Just great punk song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know why it's so rare, Spencer?
Yeah, because first of all, printed overseas, not a big quantity. Major, like you're saying, Judith, that's a big thing. Not a big quantity. Therefore, it makes it very rare. And also today, that's what it's worth. I mean, John Holmstrom, I said to John, he only got one copy. He gave it away to a museum. I said, John, what are you, crazy? You should have got sample copies like I did or Judith did. I mean, it's worth now $500 easily on rarity because it's so rare to get. If Seymour Stein, I remember messaging Seymour. I said, I'm trying to buy this sleeve. And he said, good luck. And I bought it. He said, oh, he thanked me. But you know what I mean? He even knew, the owner of Sire, how rare this sleeve was. Seymour.
Zach, do you remember, is the song title The Blitzkrieg Bop? I never remember it having the
funny
on the
you should
front.
ask that because I think we're featuring it on New HD right now. Let me check for you. Of course, the phone has to ring during the middle of this.
Somebody wants to buy that.
Now, it's the telethon we got going on. If you want to call up and give us $100 for the 45 fund, be our guest. I always thought it was Blitzkrieg Bop is the official title.
Yeah.
That's what we have
right
here. In France, maybe they just want to put the in front of it. Also, too, it's interesting. The quote is on the after the P, but there's an end quote, but there's no quote opening quote. Look at the front side.
Turn around.
I only see one quote after Bob.
Oh, that's right. There is no quotation mark.
Yeah, so that or those 2 exclamation points.
Exclamation
Look
point.
Yeah, they're exclamation points. Yeah, they're exclamation points.
All right.
And then and at the back, Havana Affair is the B-side, and then Phonogram Records overseas, Phonogram. So this is a rare one. So I thought I'd save this to last because it's like you're saying it's in the same category, Zach, as the Zepp cover that you were talking about.
Bravo.
So now, Judith, why don't you read?
This ends our the show. This is the last of the
of this series. We'll come up with another one. I dropped Spencer off at his house one time near Central Park, and he's just got this penthouse over in Central Park. He looks over the park. It's great, fantastic. And he comes. He goes, "I got a gift for you. I'll be right back." And there I was, double parked, and everybody's looking at me like, "When are you going to move, man? You're taking up too much space." And he comes down, and he gives me 545.
45s, right?
A great book, and you know.
Thank you.
Look what I opened up to.
Talk of the Town.
Book is the talk of the town. I mean, this is a nice collector's item. It's a good, you might say coffee table book if you want to put it there. And it's got some surprises, including Patti Smythe, who's got a new song out right now. She's married to Patrick
McEnroe. McEnroe.
Yeah. Oh, John McEnroe.
John Mac.
I'm sorry. Yeah, John McEnroe. They're a block away from me, by the way, in the Bedford, right across the park from me.
Patti Smythe was almost lead singer of Van Halen. She turned the gig down because they were too crazy. Yeah.
Really?
Eddie called her after David Lee Roth left the group before Sammy Hagar.
How
she
about
said,
that?
Goodbye to you.
Yeah.
Now I did get to meet John McEnroe, and we got along swimmingly well. I mean, I thought that there would be some sort of fight between us, but no, it wasn't.
He had a gallery for a short time down in Soho. I met him years ago in person. He had a gallery thing downtown for a short time.
The best one is he appears in a Larry David. What's that Larry David show?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
He's with Curb Your Enthusiasm, and they get in trouble because they're having too much fun with a freak book, and they get kicked out of the Paul McCartney show, and he gets mad, and it's great. So, yeah, good stuff. This 545s is a great book. I think you really will enjoy it.
Judith and I did a lot of work.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun designing that and putting that together.
Not too many people know this, but the Chubbies asked me to be their lead singer.
Judith is going to end our show by reading something I thought was very poignant. She read at a Cornell lecture that we did with a music class. It was very, very poignant. Judith, go ahead.
Well, the way I wanted to end it is, that we've been talking about music and art. So I just wanted to say that, people, when you, this is the quote, when you listen, you see, and when you see, you listen. So this essentially constitutes, as far as I'm concerned, an integral element. It's an integral element of the multi-sensory experience of music. The album cover that we've talked about, the art that we've talked about, for us it acts as a guide, a visual guide for you, the listener, and it prepares us for a world that you're about to emerge into. In other words, when you're listening to music, it gives you the ability to travel, and you're transported into this, in another time. It's another time, another place, another moment, and nothing can take you back to a memory as well as a song or as music can. And having that visual experience that's associated with the music, that or song, is of an album, it just enhances your experience of hearing. So when you listen, you see, and when you see, you listen. And I was just wondering, I was having this discussion before we came on. Just imagine if we had CDs, we had these 12-inch vinyls and 45s, all the 45s with all the visuals. Just imagine if we didn't have any artwork on any of the pieces, and we just had the record and the sleeve. There was no image, nothing to look at. I think there would be something missing. That visual experience adds to the song. That's just as a graphic designer, just how I feel.
I agree too, Judith. I totally agree with you.
Spencer feels the same way.
Yeah.
And hopefully we've created some memorable images for people to associate with some of the album, some of the 45, some of the logos that we've designed. You know, hopefully we'll have added to the experience of the listener. That's it.
Bravo.